Hi, I'm Larry Gifford. I am the co-founder and president of PD Avengers.
And I'm Sonia Mather, another co-founder of PD Avengers.
And I'm Tim Haig, the third co-founder of PD Avengers.
And this is the Founders Chat. You like that? I got a
That's
new,
good. That's good.
yeah. So we have what we do here, change the format a little bit. We're giving you the thing we learned this week about Parkinson's. We'll each give you one thing that we learned about Parkinson's this week, and you can share it with your friends, and your enemies, and whoever. So Sonia, would you like to go
Yeah.
first?
Sure. The thing that I learned about Parkinson's kind of revolves around Mother's Day, which just happened. And there was a new case series report in the medical literature about pregnancy and delivery in women with Parkinson's disease. And what they did is they followed 12 pregnancies um, in the participants included in the study. The participants, for 10 of them, they didn't use any medication to treat their PD. Throughout one pregnancy, a participant used pramipexole, and the other participant used levocarbidopa. And what they found was a couple of interesting things. First of all, there was one spontaneous loss, but that was in an individual that wasn't on any medication. So that was probably just, an unfortunate occurrence. They didn't seem to have any fetal or birth defects in the women that they studied, either the ones that weren't on medication as well as the ones that were. There was an early abnormal ultrasound on one of them, the ones women taking medication, but that actually turned out to be um, it didn't evolve to anything once the baby was delivered. The one other interesting thing was that five of the women found that their PD motor symptoms
Worse?
worsened during pregnancy and
Hmm.
for whatever time they followed them afterwards. But that was not established. I mean, that this is a very small study. It's an interesting study, but it reflects that we really don't know that much about this situation. We don't really have really large databases of information that we can draw from to see, because other studies have shown that there's no deleterious effects of taking levocarbidopa during pregnancy as well. So it's an interesting study, very, very interesting study. But it just sort of indicates that we just still don't know enough about it. So we're actually, the PD Avengers Women Group, we're launching a survey, hopefully in the next few weeks, on the Fox Insight. To look at women and their experiences with pregnancy before and after diagnosis, as well as labor and delivery and complications afterwards with breastfeeding, et cetera. So that should hopefully give us a little bit more information and we can really, you know, address these unmet needs of women with PD because there are women with PD in the young onset group that are having families and they really need guidance. And when I get contacted by people in that situation, it's very hard to give them guidance because we just don't have the data to support recommendations. So,
Anecdotally, a survey of one, I I talked to a woman who gave birth while she was with Parkinson's. She said she got off all of her meds right around the birth time, and like
mm,
her body just gave her all the dopamine she needed apparently because she was good
yeah.
for like five
Well,
days.
Well, of those 12 women that they studied, five said their PD symptoms worsened. Four, they didn't have any data about it. And one said it stayed the same, and the other said it improved. So
Yeah,
it's a mixed bag.
mixed bag. That's interesting. All right, Sonia, that's your one thing that you learned this week, and now we've learned it too. Tim, do you want to go?
Sure. The thing I'm going to share with you is, first of all, Happy Mother's Day, Sonia, and everyone else out there. Want to honor our moms. The thing I want to share with you is that last January, I didn't learn it just this past week, but it's this week's story. Last January, my wife and I decided to not go completely off sugar, but to try to drastically reduce it in our lives. So we cut out desserts and I stopped drinking sugar in my coffee. and lots of stuff. And if you know me, if you knew me, I've been drinking coffee for as long as I can remember. Sitting on my dad, I remember as a little kid sitting on my dad's lap drinking his coffee because he put so much sugar in it. He ended up diabetic.
Mm.
So not a good story, but the reality. And so for some 50 some years, I've been drinking coffee with sugar in it. So for me to cut sugar out of my coffee is a big deal. But the interesting thing was is that when we did this, it was literally like I went through withdrawal.
Mm.
And now that I am, what are we, we're in May, we're 5 months in now. I've the last month given myself a treat. I said, I've been faithful at this. So I love ice cream. I love chocolate shakes. I grew up having a chocolate shake a day virtually. So I've gone and given myself a treat of a chocolate shake a couple of times, and I forgot the second time what the first response was like. But now that it's happened twice, I will remember for all time. Let's just say that there was a GI reaction that had all but given me from chocolate shakes. It was unpleasant to say the least. I have never experienced anything like that from eating something. And what else can it be? It has to be the sugar, right? I
Yeah,
mean, it's not a little bit of chocolate that's in there. It's not the milk. It's whatever. It has to be the sugar because that's never affected me like that before.
that's amazing.
So it just makes me wonder, what are we eating in processed foods? What are we eating in the amount of sugar that we consume that is maybe affecting us in ways that we're unaware of?
It relates to a study that came out this week about understanding ultra processed foods, or UPF. And it says study says there's a significant link between the consumption of UPFs and an increased risk of early symptoms associated with Parkinson's. So, sugary
Hmm.
beverages, packaged snacks, processed meats, instant meals, sweetened breakfast cereals. These are characterized as foods-ish, foodish, by high levels of added sugars, unhealthy fats, and sodium, while being low in essential nutrients and fiber. It was a study of 43,000 participants over 26 years, found individuals consuming 11 or more servings of UPFs daily were 2.5 times more likely to exhibit early signs of Parkinson's disease, such as REM sleep behavior disorder, depression, impaired smell, excessive daytime sleepiness, compared to those consuming fewer than 3 servings.
Hmm.
While this study establishes a strong connection, it does not confirm a direct causal relationship. However, it underscores a potential neurological risk association with high UPF consumption.
Anecdotally, agree that there's something there. And just look at how we've responded. We both lost weight, not tons, but a bit, and just feel better.
Good.
Yeah. So
I think it's not just associated with Parkinson's, right? I think every
yeah.
disease state can benefit from a healthier
Oh,
diet.
yeah. I mean, I know I'm not supposed to drink sugary drinks, but they're so good. Uh, okay, this is my story. This is what I've learned this week. New research links close residential proximity to golf courses with higher odds of Parkinson's disease, especially when water is drawn from vulnerable groundwater sources.
Hmm.
Findings spotlight potential health risks from pesticide exposure in everyday environments. It was on JAMA Network Open, published. Researchers in the United States assess whether proximity to a golf course increases the risk of Parkinson's. Pesticide exposure has been associated with the heightened risk of PD. Pesticides are often used on golf courses to maintain aesthetic standards. And in the US, the application of pesticides to golf courses is up 15 times greater than the European countries. That's interesting.
Hmm.
Besides, pesticides can leach into groundwater, contaminating potable water. Notwithstanding the risks, research on PD in golf pesticide exposure is scarce. In the present study, researchers explored the associations between the proximity to golf courses and the incidence of PD. PD patients in Olmsted County were identified from 1991 to 2015 within the Rochester Epidemiology Project Medical Records Linkage System. A movement disorder specialist reviewed medical records of identified patients to confirm diagnosis and ascertain motor symptoms onset date. with 9,000 controls matched by sex and age after exclusions, 419 PD cases and 5,113 controls were included for analysis. The nearest golf course was at a medium distance of 1.72 and 1.98 miles for PD cases. Odds of PD decreased by 9% for every 1 mile increment in distance from the golf course, up to 18 miles. People living farther from a golf course had lower odds of PD. Furthermore, living within 1 mile of golf course increased the odds of PD by 126% compared to those living over 6 miles away.
Wow.
That's
Well, that
amazing.
hits home. I live on a golf course.
Well, so I used to too.
Yeah, I had my PD before I got here, but I brought it with me, but still.
Yeah, it's
Good.
crazy.
Yeah. Goodness, goodness, goodness.
Yeah. So there you go. The happy news of the day. Don't
Give
eat.
up your sugar and don't go golfing.
Yeah, don't go golfing.
Yeah.
Get the epidural.
Yeah.
All
Uh,
right. Thank you guys. This is a
Thanks.
good chat.
Take care.
Bye bye.
bye-bye.